Scanning for audio.
Welcome to a Tin Dog podcast, Day of the Doctor. Yes, you saw it. As I said last time, I wasn't going to be at the Excel Arena, and for anyone who was there, I'm a little bit jealous. Oh yeah. Oh, and by the way, absolutely no one wanted those tickets, even if I was giving them away. So I'm now 80 quid down, and having a bit of a panic. I really must work harder. That's not important. What is important is that I wasn't at the Excel. I wasn't at the Doctor Who wedding. I didn't see it at the cinema in 3D, and I did see it in front of the telly. In all honesty, I was actually waiting for my wife to finish some work, so I actually saw it 20 minutes out of sync from the rest of the world. So you, dear listener, probably got to see it 20 minutes before me. Thank God for Sky Plus. Let's start at the very beginning. I liked it. It was very, very good. There are some questions. And yes, it still was as good as Night of the Doctor, which surprised me. The McGann stuff just blew my mind and made me smile from ear to ear. If I was prone to such thing, I'd use the word squee, but I'm not. I was grinning. So, for those of you listening to every podcast, and thank you for doing that, you might remember that last year I went to the cinema. Yes, that's the exciting world of having a child. You get to go to the cinema, at least once a year. And I saw Spider-Man in 2D. I was sitting there in the cinema watching Spider-Man swing down this massive corridor of buildings, and me and my wife both felt the same thing. This is the bit for people in the cinema next door watching it in 3D. There was a lot of that here. I would genuinely like them to stop making Doctor Who in 3D and not do it anymore, because although it was important for the plot, well, for those pictures, and it probably looked fab, it just annoyed me. Was it good? Was it spectacular, watching it in 3D? One day I'm sure I'll find out. Possibly. But I would genuinely like them not for them to do this. I have a quick question for anyone who has seen it in 3D, and I'd like them to email me at tin-dog@hotmail.co.uk. Were the original opening title sequence, the black and white one, and the words, were they in 3D as well? Did they actually take the original opening title but give it depth so that it was coming towards you, coming at you in a Mighty Boosh kind of a way? I will talk about the Tom Baker thing at the end and if that makes Dark Dimensions canon or not. But it basically was great. Yes, there have got a few moans, but I wouldn't be a Doctor Who fan if I didn't have moans about things. Yes, it's not explained how you get from, well, being stuck inside the Doctor's head/time stream to teaching in Coal Hill School. A small, tiny gripe to open with, I feel. There's a sign screwed to the wall next to Coal Hill School, pointing the way to I.M. Foreman's. Now, if anyone watched An Unearthly Child, what happens in An Unearthly Child? Have a think. Susan's going to go home to Totter's Lane, to the scrapyard. This is the scrapyard signposted near the school, at the end of this road. Barbara and Ian get in the car and head her off and park outside. Either there's been some extensive renovations in the area and they've now put in a back lane allowing easier access to Totter's Lane, possibly for film crews, or this bit was just a step too far. Because, let's face it, if you could get from the school to Totter's Lane just by going down the one road, getting in the car and heading her off, regardless of how foggy an evening it is going to just be really weird. She had to live several streets away, an estate perhaps. So that irritated me a bit, but the shadow of a policeman in black and white over the sign was a lovely touch. Oh, and I just don't like writing appearing in the air because you're writing on a whiteboard, but you can see through the whiteboard, so you're looking at... I actually thought she was writing on glass, and we were in some sort of strange futuristic classroom. Again, probably done for 3D. Again, stop it. Now, that opening sequence with the helicopter and the picking up of the TARDIS and the dangling... Again, I just felt it was going, look, you've got 3D glasses, isn't it brilliant? Aren't you getting your money's worth out of it? And you probably were. You see, I sound like a moany old Doctor Who fan, and perhaps I am. Because it was great. It was lovely. It was a fantastic celebration, and it made the other celebrations look like episodes of an old sci-fi TV series that we love. This is the Three Doctors for a modern generation. It truly is. Big thing threatening the Time Lords. The Doctors have to come together to save it and change history. Well, so what? We don't care. We've had light at the end, which has had a mixed response. Now, admittedly, after listening to Light at the End again, I've not been as enthusiastic as I was the first time, but let's look at it in context. We've managed to have multiple Doctor stories featuring all of the Doctors in the space of a month. That, together with the 5 Doctors-ish reboot thing, means that we're just spoilt for choice. Yes, Doctor Who might not have been everywhere all year, but it's been everywhere all November. If ever there was a Doctor Who story that could legitimately have been written just for us, the fans, this is it. But as always, we understand that you have to attract the other audiences. There is also the argument that all Doctor Who fans are Doctor Who fans. To some extent. Everyone watching is a fan. They don't need that much more explaining. Everyone knows there's been several actors playing the part. The small cameos, the throwaways, the moments, they're more for us. So there's probably going to be more of them in this story than any other, because this is our anniversary and everyone else is invited to our party. Usually it's a street party and we all get to sit together at one end and enjoy it. But tonight, this was our party and they could join us. Does that make sense? I guess it might. So, rather than having an A plot and a B plot, well, perhaps that's exactly what we did have. We had the Zygon storyline, which admittedly would have covered 2 Doctors anyway, i.e. the 10th Doctor and the 11th Doctor being in the current time zone with the paintings at this end of time. And then you've got the major plot, the plot that's there, but really it isn't. It's the plot at the beginning and the end, the plot that wouldn't be affected by anything other than the Zygonness, which is the new 9th Doctor. When I was watching this with my beloved wife, she turned to me after seeing John Hurt and said, "Does this mean I now have to remember a new order?" And I'm not talking about the band here from the 80s. A new order of actors. I thought for a minute, well, yes. It now goes Hartnell, Troughton, Pertwee, Baker, Davidson, Baker, McCoy, McGann, Hurt, Eccleston, Tennant, Smith, Capaldi. It's not that hard. And then she asked me what order I was going to keep the DVDs in, and then my brain leaked from my head, because I know for a fact that I will not be able to not keep this disc next. That I will not be able to keep this disc not next to the 8th Doctor TV movie, because it's going to come with Night of the Doctor. And it's going to be the only appearance of John Hurt. So I'm going to have Doctors 1 to 8, then Doctor 9, Hurt, and then the Eccles 10, 11, 12, and the next Doctor all in together. That's where I'll be keeping the disc, because I'll have no choice. Yes, it should be near the end of the Smith set, but I just won't be able to bring myself to do it. It'll make me so much happier. Perhaps I should make an extra copy of the disc and just keep Night of the Doctor after the movie, and then keep the rest of the story after Smith. And where does it fit in with Tennant? I'm guessing just before the end of time. Ah, yes, the end of time. There's your problem. There's your problem with the entire story. Again, I'm just being picky because it's me. Now, the essence of Doctor Who, for me as a child, was that here is a man who does his best, always finds a way to avoid violence, and always wins. And in the Time War as far as the Doctor was concerned, he used the moment, and he betrayed everything he stood for. Because sometimes in life when you're a grown-up, you can't not do that. It was an important lesson. Because he'd done that, Gallifrey had ended up being time-locked. Now, in the end of time, the Gallifrey itself escapes this time lock, thanks to James Bond, the sound of some drums, and John Sim. Can you see where I'm going with this? Gallifrey is time-locked, Gallifrey escapes from the time lock. That was part of the moment's attack. That has happened, that will happen, that's fine. That is established continuity. That also eventually results in, well, the death of the 10th Doctor. It's kind of important to his timeline. Except now we've found out that what actually happened was Gallifrey wasn't time-locked. It wasn't discarded. It was actually removed from space-time and put somewhere. Maybe it's in a photograph. Oh, isn't Gallifrey time-locked? So how do you get into the photograph in order to escape from the photograph? Because it's time-locked. Oh yes, the moment can let you do those things because she's more powerful than a time lock. It does detract from those stories, but as they're not everyone's favourite stories, you'll probably let them go. And now the Doctor has a quest. Just like Superman to find Krypton, the Doctor can try and find Gallifrey. Something for the 13th Doctor to do. Well, that we can live with. Small gripes abound. What was up with Elizabeth I? The woman who plays Stacey in Gavin and Stacey. Now, I know she's had a kid and her face will look slightly different from how she was. And I have become increasingly used to her being in the TV series for kids Cubicle 5 as the alien Oopsie. Her voice is distinctly Welsh. Now, I'm not a historian. Oh, hang on. Yes, I was. I was unaware of any Welsh leanings of Elizabeth I. But because of the performance, we can probably let them off. It was a character/comedy role after all. But I've missed something out. Yes, the Time War had a different ending, and it does explain how there was a single Dalek allowed to escape the Time War, because the moment was never truly used. All that happened was, well, actually it's the same as the end of Red Dwarf. The spaceship made itself all wibbly-wobbly so that all the lasers could pass through it, and then they'd all shoot each other. That was the end of the last Red Dwarf. And that's the end of how you save Gallifrey. So nothing truly happened to the Daleks in a Time War way. It was literally just a shed load of weapons going off and explosions. So that's how a Dalek managed to escape. There wasn't any major weaponry used. The Time War's a con. A fib, a fabrication. Because Gallifrey is somewhere else, probably in another painting, located in the bottom corner of the TARDIS. He's been dragging it around with himself for ages. Just like, well, the Doctor's spare galaxy that he drags around with him in the Big Finish stories. So, my predictions and requests for Eccleston's face? Almost, but not quite, a regeneration. Why could they not have used Eccleston's face? All he had to do was stand there and get scanned. Look, there are people out there who are very, very good at this sort of thing. Yes, he does have a bit of an Eccleston thing, and there is a line about having better ears next time. I just don't know. It is what I wanted, and it is a superbly executed tale. It's elegant, its structure is great. I just don't know what else to say. And that brings us, before I go, to the wonderful world of Tom. Tom lives in his own universe. The 4th Doctor, as played by Tom, was an eccentric of the highest order. He is, of course, the oldest surviving Doctor, and he is brilliant. How much of what we saw on screen of the Curator, an implied future incarnation of the Doctor with a revisited face, but old, was Tom, and how much was scripted? We may never ever know. And on the subject of the script, I would love to see a version of the script with Eccleston's Doctor in it, just so that we can figure out what's happening. Did I call him Eccleston? I should have called him Eccleston, because that's what I'll be going with in future. So yes, Tom had beautiful moment of charity, a beautiful moment of clarity and charm, but it was completely bonkers. We had no idea what was going on, and we didn't really care. It was simply glorious to behold. And as to my theory is, the Doctor, the first Doctor, the original Doctor, being a curator of the Museum of Heavy Weaponry, well, it still kind of fits. How else would he have access to the equipment in order to steal the moment? And the Zygons, being the first casualty of the Time War, well, that kind of fits. Because if we take the first volley of the Time War as being Genesis of the Daleks, Terror of the Zygons is the second story, is the first story that follows Genesis of the Daleks. So that makes a lot of sense. So I'm off now to watch the 5-ish Doctors, to catch up on the after-show party, and basically just, well, watch some more Doctor Who. Again, I'd like to point you in the direction of the Blue Box Messiah, which is available to download in script form for free over this entire weekend to celebrate the 50th anniversary. On Tuesday at the Jam Jar Cinema in Whitley Bay, you'll be able to watch the final performance of Blue Box Messiah, the play, for a while. We will be going on tour in the future. And remember, if you'd like to see the play, just email me and we'll see what we can do at a venue in your area. So until next time, we'll probably be talking about, Doctor Who or something. Be seeing you. You've been listening to the Tin Dog Podcast. Doctor Who is the property of the BBC and no infringement is intended. To contact the show or to find out more about Whostrology and my other works, click on the links on the Tin Dog Podcast homepage. Why not follow Blue Box Messiah, all one word, on Twitter to keep up to date with tour dates of my forthcoming Doctor Who comedy play. The Tin Dog Podcast is a founder member of the Doctor Who Podcast Alliance.
Hello, I'm Simon Fisher-Becker, aka Dora Moldovar, and you're listening to Tin Dog Podcast.
On Saturday, BBC One showed a nostalgic 50th anniversary special.
You have to promise me that you're not going to talk during Doctor Who, okay? Because you have no idea how excited I am.
Doctor Who, the day of the Doctor.
Oh, John Hurt.
Mom! It's starting, shut up!
Louis.
Okay, you're allowed to sing, but when it starts, you're not.
The current Doctor was very dramatic when he explained how, for 5 decades, we've seen him battle against the Daleks.
I've had many faces, many lives. I don't admit all of them. There's one life I've tried very hard to forget. He was the Doctor who fought in the Time War, and that was the day he did it.
But we know that there are...
No talking.
The last day of the Time War.
Was it because they're there?
No!
Mum can't do it.
And in that battle there was a man.
The Doctor took us back in time through a painting. It was very clever. We ended up in the middle of the first Dalek War.
Exterminate!
Is there little midgets in them Daleks?
Little numbers.
Yeah. Or are they remote control, George?
I don't know.
I mean, how do they eat? Have you ever seen a Dalek whip up an omelette?
I bet he doesn't know how to make a Bloody Mary either.
Oh, no, not at all.
They're still just heavy-duty waste bins with a sink plunger, though, aren't they?
They are, yeah.
What planet is this on?
Gallifrey, the Time Lord planet. Mum, I'm going to kill you.
Okay, it's good.
No.
Keep knickers on.
Oh.
If you watch Doctor Who and you're over the age of 9, you need to rethink your life.
Desperate.
You have to be a kid or a stoned to understand it, or not.
I am 5.
Or English.
At one point, the Doctor even had a conversation with himself.
This time there's 3 of us.
Oh, yes, that is good. That is brilliant. Oh, I'm getting that too. That is brilliant.
Because I can't get my head around it. Serious.
Get your head around it. He is a Time Lord.
I don't
he cannot
care.
die.
I don't like it. If you don't have to make me to like
He's
it, I don't like it.
amazing.
I need to know if we're in the future or the past, Louis. That's what I need to know.
Mum, why does that matter?
It just does.
Think of it as if it's the past, okay? Because now there were Time Lords and now there are none, okay?
But the thing is, it looks very futuristic, so how can it be in the
Maybe
past?
they're on an advanced planet.
Oh, what, you mean they're not on Earth?
Oh, sweet mother of God!
They're on Gallifrey, for God's sake.
With expensive-looking graphics, the BBC managed to get every Doctor who's ever been Doctor Who together in the same place at the same time.
You might say I've been doing this all my lives.
Good luck. Stand by. Ready.
Commencing calculation.
Zoom me there. Across the boundaries that divide one universe from another. Got to lock onto his coordinate.
Oh, yes, that
Oh,
Peter
him.
Davidson.
He was in the vet in harness.
Yes.
Peter Davidson.
Yes, he was shit.
It's all the other doctors.
All the doctors have come. Oh my goodness. Oh, look.
Oh.
No.
Oh, I liked him.
Which one?
Between...
Oh, no.
Stop,
they're all dollies.
That is the best Doctor Who I have ever seen. So the two that I remember are the second and the third one.
Great.
No, because that's probably when I watched it.
Oh my god. Oh, so good.
There was good news.
It's the 50th anniversary. Last year, you promised yourself you'd get a copy of Whostrology. You know, for yourself, for that bookcase. You dropped hints to your loved ones. You wrote letters to Santa. You even promised yourself you'd buy yourself a copy to celebrate finishing off all that annoying Christmas shopping. But it never arrived. So this year, why not give in and buy one of the funniest books you'll ever read? Annoy your family by chortling away at jokes that only you and a handful of other Doctor Who fans will get. Whostrology, it's the future. Stop hanging around waiting for the ebook to come out. There won't be an ebook. There won't be an app. Buy it today while stocks last. Click on the link on the Tin Dog Podcast homepage or visit any branch of Amazon. You know you want to.